This was a blessing and such a relief. Here we thought throughout the second half of May that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were the core Pokemon RPG games for Nintendo Switch. But then we got the confirmation we secretly dreamt about here at the Commonwealth Realm, that the Let's Go games are only warm-ups in 2018, or entry dishes leading up to the main course in 2019. So today, we are glad to still say that this is still inside Pokemon Switch. Phew, dodged that bullet. That's the feeling many of us felt as more and more details regarding Game Freak's and the Pokemon Company's strategy for the franchise on the Nintendo Switch were detailed. And with good reason, as Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee can be summed up as if the current 3DS designs of the franchise got an HD kid with Pokemon Go. No insults here, but Pokemon is in dire need of a proper 3D, HD, fully camera controllable overhaul that isn't amputated by gimmicky controls or dumbed down mechanics.
The three-pillar Switch strategy consisting of Pokemon Quest, Pokemon Let's Go, and the core RPG Pokemon title is exactly the reason why we aren't mad that the last of these isn't coming out this year, as we still have something worthwhile to look forward to this November. We fully understand the argument behind the plan, as Game Freak and the Pokemon Company have realized what kind of potential Pokemon Go offers to the franchise. So instead of throwing these inexperienced casuals on a core RPG, they said, hey, let's draw in the big Go player base through making their progress in Pokemon Go matter in a bridge Switch title.
Wait, what? A bridge title? What's that supposed to mean? Very simple. A Pokemon transition game that works as an introduction point for people who have never, or at least for many years, not played a Pokemon title. In other words, the Pokemon Company has made a Pokemon game for everyone, and with two of their mascots to draw in the crowds. So don't be surprised if Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee outsell any previous Pokemon title. After all, the combination of Gen 1 Kanto, Pikachu, and Eevee on your shoulder, and motion control gameplay is very tempting. So much so that it might be enough to convince a section of the current Pokemon Go players and the 3DS owners who have still not made the switch to finally go all out and acquire a Nintendo Switch with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
That's fine and all, but what does this have to do with the core Pokemon Switch RPG? More than you think. Across the 22 years that have passed since Pokemon Red and Blue came out in Japan, the franchise has been through 7 generations, and none of them offer a true balanced entry point. So they took Pokemon Yellow from Gen 1, one of the harder generations, but with the most familiar Pokemon, and then combined mechanics from the original game with those found in Pokemon Go. The result is a whole new category of Pokemon games that satisfies the existing players by giving them something to play to kill the waiting time for the core Pokemon RPG that was announced at last year's E3, while also offering an entry point for first-time Pokemon Go players and players who at some point got lost with the introduction of new mechanics that felt unfamiliar to them.
In many ways, this is a win for everyone, as we all get to experience a reimagined homage to Pokemon Yellow in its 20th anniversary, and give another year of development for Game Freak to finish the core RPG Pokemon title for Nintendo Switch and bring Pokemon to the next level. The president of the Pokemon Company, Tsunekazu Ishihara, put this really well in his announcement yesterday. The Let's Go games are the next step for players brought in by Pokemon Go to continue with the series, which is why the catching/interface modes are the same. The 2019 game, on the other hand, will move the handheld experience forward. We have been working on this game since before the Switch released, and will not be influenced by Pokemon Go.
By the 2019 holiday season, everyone who went in to buy a Switch with either of the two Let's Go games will have gained enough experience to say, you know what, I think I am ready for a real challenge. And that is exactly what Game Freak will deliver to them. They come for the warm-up, but after getting a taste of the drug, decide to stay for the main fight. Which brings up another question, and the matter of hand in the second half of this video. Namely, what way should the core Pokemon Switch RPG go, following the reveal of Let's Go? No puns intended.
Since we're dealing with a will to bridge two different genres, namely core 3DS Pokemon RPGs and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, our first action must be to abandon the top-down simplistic world design of the 3DS games and Let's Go games. 3DS world design will not do for the mainline game in 2019. To replace it, we suggest a semi-open world. Say something in between the open-air design in Breath of the Wild and the kingdoms in Super Mario Odyssey. An HD world that truly shines and where you use both analog sticks, one for controlling the movements of the character and the other to control the camera surrounding you.
That way, you use more of the Switch controller. Will this pose an issue for a possible use of the Pokeball Plus as a controller? Not really, as you can easily combine the Pokeball in one hand with a Joy-Con in the other. Then you have the question about Pokemon Go integration, where Mr. Ishihara was very clear that the core Pokemon Switch RPG will not be influenced by the mobile app and that it will follow the tradition found in the X and Y and Sun and Moon games. In other words, it will be the premiere for the 8th generation of Pokemon, with most likely a new region and whole new Pokemon to catch. Even so, we wonder if the removal of random encounters in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee will carry over to the core game, as this is one of the most tedious gameplay mechanics found in the series. Just ask Etika about Dugtrios.
Fucking Dugtrio! These things really piss me off. Like, Game Freak, f you for doing this. Like, really, man?
But seriously, we're actually strongly in favor of having Pokemon visible within tall grass, thus allowing you to pick your own battles, much like in Breath of the Wild and other recent RPGs. However, unlike Let's Go Pikachu, we don't want to see lack of battles with wild Pokemon to carry over. Luckily, with the assurance that the game will not be influenced by Pokemon Go, we are rather certain that wild Pokemon battles will be present in the core RPG. To be honest, the only elements we see carried over from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu to the core title is that you might be able to throw with your Joy-Con Pokeballs to catch Pokemon after weakening them in battle, and that will of course be thanks to the IR camera and some motion controls. Another thing we really hope will be brought over is Pokemon tailing you or sitting on your shoulder. You have no idea how much we want this feature to return in the core series. Then we have the question of the art style.
Don't get us wrong, we enjoy the art style for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as it complements the tone of the game really well. Obviously, they would probably get away with it if they reused the engine and aesthetics from the Let's Go games, but we doubt that this will be the case. Rather, we see Game Freak try to use the Switch in similar ways to Breath of the Wild, giving the game a Japanese sort of anime manga look that will hold a much more serious tone than Let's Go. The same goes for voice acting, which is instrumental to the Pokemon anime and movies. Speaking of music, we can't stress this enough. An orchestrated soundtrack is a must when the core franchise makes the jump from handheld to HD handheld/console hybrid. More importantly, we know how awesome orchestrated Pokemon music can sound thanks to the likes of Luigi Gigas. These picks are key, as the core game needs to appeal to the young adult demographic that currently makes up for the biggest player base on the Nintendo Switch. These groups are looking for something more in their Pokemon games, like highly competitive gameplay. Yes, local co-op is cool, but imagine if you were able to play online co-op in the Pokemon Switch RPG.
It would be amazing and not pose greater problems, as most Switch owners at this point have either a Switch Pro controller or another pair of Joy-Cons along to the Joy-Cons that are supplied with the system. Unlike the Let's Go games, the expectations for the core RPG Pokemon Switch game are unrealistically high and the possibilities many. Thankfully, it appears that Game Freak has taken this project very seriously, as the game has been in development since before the Nintendo Switch released. So most likely it is currently in its second year of development, with a little over one more to go until completion. But what do you think should be brought over from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to the core Pokemon Switch RPG? We want to see your thoughts in the comment section below.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like and share this video. And if you are new, make sure to subscribe and press the shiny notification bell to join the ranks in the notification force. We are less than 7,000 subscribers away from 150,000, and if we are able to reach this number by June 15th, we will give away 15 annual Nintendo Switch Online subscriptions when the service launches this September. Finally, we want to thank all of our gracious patrons, and in particular, Royal Producer Kenyatta Ali, for their financial contributions to the realm. You can join the CR Order to receive a badge and prove your fellowship by heading over to patreon.com/Common Realm.
We also want to thank Jordan Fringe for joining in for this video. Go out and check out his channel or the video that he made regarding Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Until the next episode of Inside Pokemon Switch, be sure to tune in tomorrow at 5 PM ET for our Nintendo E3 predictions live stream with Roger Space. And as always, make sure to catch them all.